Okay, welcome back. This is the second of our two sessions. Tonight we're playing Ghost Dog, The Way of the Samurai, which is the RPG from 20 years ago now, 21 years ago now, based on the Jim Jarmusch film, Ghost Dog. My name is Donna. I'm running the game. My pronouns are he, him, and I guess I'm just excited to see exactly what our two characters get up to. So let's get intros from them and their characters and like previously on or last week on. Let's go left to right on the character keeper.
Hi there, I am Puckett. I use he, him pronouns. Tonight I am playing Huang Peter Chen. I took an English name because very few people he runs into are interested in learning how to pronounce his actual name, so he just says, call me Peter whenever he runs into somebody like that. And last time on Ghost Dog, he scolded Detective Ricky Rocket for not bringing gifts to an elder when chatting with him in the park, and scolded him and said that he was out of seed and crusts and that Ricky should go get some from a bakery and bring them back so that he could feed the birds in front of him. He subsequently slapped the taste out of someone's mouth that Ricky was trying to interrogate, and then paid that person a visit later on in the evening to find out when his boss would be around, and got that information from him by putting a silenced pistol at the base of his skull. So Wang is a little more than just the elderly Chinese man that he seems to be, who enjoys taking walks in the park and allowing his bird to sit in a tree and sing and cooking up American Chinese food.
I am Clint, he, him. I am playing Ricky Rocket, Detective Ricky Rocket. He's a mid-30s detective who is also mixed in with the mob in some fashion. We haven't really delved into that too much yet. But he has a hunch that this elderly Peter guy is actually much more than he lets on, and that he may be connected to a series of unsolved homicides. And when we last left Ricky, he had tailed Wang Peter home, and so he knows where he lives.
And yeah, that definitely attracted some attention from Huang, but you know, I guess we'll see exactly how much we can trust each other this week. So so I want to learn a little bit more about Huang's boss, whoever he reports there, whoever gives him special orders at the restaurant. So I think let's set a scene in that restaurant. Yeah, so you get I think last week it was the chicken and cashew special, right?
Yes, the special cashew chicken.
Yeah. So I think you get one of those orders in, right? And the I think the fresh-faced Dave, the delivery driver who helps you out at the restaurant, obviously doesn't understand the meaning of this and just slaps the order ticket down on the counter next to you, and you kind of with his kind of puppy dog, eager to help kind of face, he wonders what he can do to help or what he can do.
And Dave means well. He has respect for his elders. And I think what he can do Dave can drive me to the place where I'll deliver the order. But of course, I'm not going to be delivering the order there. I'm going to get like within a block or two, and then walk the rest of it. And then just tell Dave that I'll catch the bus back.
Okay.
He's a good boy. He doesn't need to be caught up in any of this.
And does he give you is he a little bit confused at this strange order, or is he just accepting that some things he just doesn't get?
I tell him that the special cashew chicken order is from and I wink and say, a lady friend of mine.
Well, I don't know what to say. And he kind of looks embarrassed. He's like, you're too old for that kind of thing in his eyes, obviously. He doesn't like to think about that.
And I'll just smile and say, one is never too old to enjoy life, Dave.
Well, I think he'll shake his head. He's finding out something new about Peter right now. That's how he's seeing it.
Yeah, indeed he is. It's just that it's a complete lie.
Yeah. But I presume this is the kind of way that Huang has that lets him fly under the radar for a lot of things. He relies on people taking his appearance for granted, right?
That, and also people not wanting to ask any more questions after I give them an answer.
Yeah.
I mean, it is amazing what kind of conversation you can stop when you mention stool softener.
Okay, so
case in point.
Yeah. So yeah, why don't you describe the house you end up at, and give us like a quick scene painting for your contact or the boss in the triad.
It's a nondescript apartment building constructed sometime in the 1970s. It's one of those buildings that is just plain enough to be noticeable, or to like pass beneath most people's notice, and just ugly enough that everyone else wants to look away from it. And my contact maintains an apartment on the 4th floor of this building. And his name is Wei Yu. He's something of he fancies himself to be an up-and-comer in the organization, and even considers himself something of a shot caller. But the only shots that he ever calls are given to him, and largely he's there to provide a buffer between me and the organization so that I can legitimately claim to know nothing about such a thing. And he is the only connection that they could make. So, and he is low level enough that, quite frankly, if he were captured and interrogated, he would probably just wind up in the bay with a bullet in his head.
Yeah, he'd give nothing away, but getting on the radar is enough of a mistake to get you bailed out and then bailed in, right? Cool. Okay. I want to cut over to the precinct. Ricky, your commanding officer, Joseph Griffin, who has no time for your latest conspiracy theories, called you into his office.
Yeah. So I go in and I'm like, all right, boss, what do you need?
I think I made a mistake on giving that Jim Flannery job to you.
I'm so close to it.
Yeah, but I've gotten some info that he's a lot more dangerous than I thought. Right?
You think I can't handle it?
Well, I think you need someone to help you out, just to watch your
Who?
back. Like going
Who?
solo against, the usual crew is all very well, but these guys are dangerous.
Who are you going to saddle me with?
I don't know. I was gonna see if you felt like working with your old pal. Vargas is looking for work, right? In this regard, and
Okay.
you've always had a good word to say about them. So,
okay, yeah. Me and did we give Vargas a first name? I don't think we did.
I don't think we did.
I didn't write it down if we did.
Yeah, Detective Vargas. I do not have a first name for him.
Okay.
Or I don't even remember if it's anything about it. I think it was him.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, Vargas. Let's see.
Let me put it like this: if you mess up, I have a feeling the FBI will want in on this, and I would prefer to handle this ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. We don't want the spooks involved in this.
Yeah, definitely.
So I kind of think that like this is like what Ricky was planning on doing today, maybe. And I think this is kind of like a overarching story thing that I'm a little unsure of. Are this Irish mob that we spoke about earlier, is that the same one, or do we know if that's the same one that's been hiring Peter?
So Peter's connection is with the Triad, right? And the Irish mob, Giles and Flannery are part of, is they're kind of elbowing in competitors in the city.
Okay. Because I feel like that we are actually, working with the same mob, obviously.
Yeah.
And that's not the Irish mob, which would make sense. I kind of want to make a call to my connection that is within that mob, which I kind of love the fact that now I'm going to get stuck with a partner and I have to kind of ditch my partner to make this connection happen.
Yeah. So
okay.
So yeah, I mean, I guess you can try to have that connect. I mean, unless you want Vargas to be like sitting in another meeting room right here, and you get connected with them straight away, and so you have to play that kind of.
No, I think what you've already presented is great. Like,
yeah.
Maybe I walk in the office and Vargas is already just sitting there. Like, I have no choice. Like, this is happening.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that definitely sounds on genre.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm excited to see Vargas, but then I'm like, oh no, like he's totally gonna ruin my ability to move as freely as I would like to, because I still want to like keep an eye on this Chinese food cook, and it's going to be hard for me to explain to Vargas why I'm tailing this guy as well.
Yeah, it's a bit of a conundrum, right? Okay, yeah. So, yeah, what? So we know from last week, Vargas is like a straight shooting,
he's
straight arrow, clean, and has his suspicions about you, right?
Yeah, like he kind of has a feeling I'm not on the straight and narrow, and he definitely is, and so he's probably sent to look, spy on me as well as help me.
Yeah. Okay. So is like, are you still friendly, or is the kind of relationship a bit cold? What's the
no, we're definitely friends. Still, like I went and saw him at the beginning at our last meet. He is the one that I think he tipped me off to somebody. I don't remember. So yeah, I walk in and I say, hey, that Vargas, I have this isn't, again, I don't remember writing any notes. I think I was planning on going to Flannery's house to interrogate him.
I think I remember that.
So I come into the office, to check in, I guess. So I'm saying, Vargas, here's what I'm doing. If we're partners, you're going along.
Sounds good to me, Ricky. I guess you've unearthed a few things that would have taken me at least 20 minutes to get on, huh?
Right.
You saved us a trip to the archives, right?
I was there for way too long yesterday.
Okay, let's go down and knock on this guy's door.
Yeah. So, get in my beat up fastback Mustang. Let's see. Help refresh my memory from last week. Was I at his apartment, Flannery's, or did I just look it up?
Yeah,
do either of you remember?
Yeah, I don't think you were at it. You just found out where he was, and this was like the same night as Huang went to pay him that visit. So I don't think you've had
really
time
quickly.
Yeah,
we actually got past that, and when we got to the next day, because that's when I wrapped on your car window.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I'd forgotten.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Coda for us. Yeah. And this was you were staking out the place, right?
Yeah, I was staking out. Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Sorry. Thanks, Puckett. So do you want to say that this meet is like, after you come in and maybe your stakeout hasn't really given you much to go on. Maybe he's cut and run after getting his visit from Huang.
That's kind of what I was thinking would happen anyway. We'd get to his place and he wouldn't be there.
Yeah. He may be a fool, but he's not foolish, right?
Hey.
Or maybe it's the other way around. I don't know. Okay, cool. So maybe this is later that evening, and maybe you've gotten another lead.
Yeah, well, I feel like I still want to do what I was saying is get in touch with my contact in the triad mob. So we're driving down the road and I slam on the brakes and I'm like, I have to make a phone call. So before Vargas could even question me what I do, I jump out of my car and go make a phone call.
Okay. Yeah. And obviously it's the late 90s or whatever. So there are mobile phones, but there's still pay phones on the side of the road. So that completely works. So who is your contact? Is it YU, the same guy who handles Huang, or is it someone else?
No, I think it kind of needs to be someone completely isolated from that branch, but still part of it. How about it's another dirty cop?
Okay.
Maybe someone who is okay. The reason why I definitely want to make sure Vargas isn't around is because it's another cop that Vargas hates.
Okay.
That is a big adversary of Vargas. So I not only can't mention this guy, I definitely can't be seen.
Cool. Yeah.
Around him. And we will call that guy. Come on, internet. Let's see. Any name ideas here? Internet's going slow for some reason. Terrible at names.
Jack McComb.
What was that?
Jack McComb.
Jack McComb. I like that.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, I guess you're phoning his desk phone, right?
It's his beeper.
Okay. So he'll call you back
I,
from a payphone in like 5 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, I dial the beeper and I just like hang out there for a few minutes.
Yeah. So yeah, he comes on and you're like just waiting, holding the phone, and Vargas is looking out suspiciously at you.
And I'm like, it's okay.
Yeah. Let's leave you hanging and cut back to Huang.
All right, cool.
So yeah, you go inside and deliver the special to YU. Well, I think he like turfs it out, some of it into a bowl, and leaves you the rest of the box. And he starts tucking into it.
You honor me by eating my cooking.
Well, it's pretty good.
Well, I know that when I receive an order for the special cashew chicken, that it is for someone who is Cantonese. I put special effort into it.
Ah, well, that surprises me. I thought everything was, a serious task that honored you yourself, and not just the consumer.
Yes, but I tried to make you something that would remind us of our homeland.
It's good. Listen, there's big changes going on.
And I take it I am supposed to assist with at least some of these changes?
I think you're going to be instrumental. There's a new outfit that has their eyes on our city, on our turf. And I think we want you to send them a message that they cannot ignore.
How loud is this message to be? Am I to shout it or whisper it?
Well, let's put it like this. We want you the message should be whispered in the ear of the people we intend it for.
And do these people have a name?
The mafia have been wading in on us, on our territory, and their moves are, well, maybe not seen on the street yet, but they're moves that we can see higher up. There's a man called Dino Cesarini. Some of our friends in the city know the hotel suite he is staying at. And I think this is what we need you to do.
Very well. Am I only to send this message to him or anyone in the room with him? Or am I to use my own discretion?
I think you can use your own discretion. Obviously, anyone in the room who opposes your mission has to be crushed. But I think your discretion would have seen to that.
You assume that he and I will be in the same room. And I smile.
No, anyone in the same room as him. No?
Well, if you want a message sent, if I'm whispering it, would it not do well for there to be others alive who can report back that the message was delivered?
I mean, if you think they're stupid, but yeah, one person can carry a message, I suppose. Or maybe two for verification.
And I smile and put my hand on the door to leave and say, please, enjoy.
Thank you, Hang. As always, your service is will be much appreciated when it is delivered.
Delivery is, after all, our specialty. And I walk out the door.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, let's cut to Ricky's conversation with Jack. Hey, Ricky, what's going on? You're muted.
You know, these 1990s payphones, they didn't quite work, so he started banging it really hard. I'm trying to get my hands on this Irish mob guy named Flannery.
Huh.
What do you guys know about him?
You know, I just got a call earlier from my guy, and apparently we're hands off the Irish mob. Apparently they've cut some kind of deal to keep the Italians out.
I can't do that, man.
Well, you
I got my boss banging. So, well, can you like let me get to him, but not like I'm not gonna murder the guy. I just need to question him.
You pick him up, and he's gonna end up dead. You're gonna end up dead. I'm gonna end up in Colorado.
Well, I hear Colorado's lovely this time of year, but I need to see I need to get Flannery.
No, you can just slow play it. Get rid of your partner, whatever. Who put you with a partner? You know better than to take a partner along on these kind of jobs.
It wasn't my choice.
Well, you know, if he's a kind of suspicious guy, you just gotta find an excuse to get rid of him. Maybe.
I can ditch Vargas.
Vargas.
Oh. Yeah, I'm with him right now.
Listen.
He won't get anywhere near you.
If he is sniffing around at Flannery, he's gonna, you know.
That's why I have to get to him and not Vargas.
Well, you're gonna be together, right? He's not gonna let you out of his sight.
Well, I can ditch him.
Okay, but listen, if he, you know how dangerous he is if he gets a sniff of a bone, you know?
Yeah.
He'll be rooting around for it. He'll dig up the entire garden, and he'll point the finger at you, no problem, if he realizes what you're up to.
Well, then help me so he doesn't figure it out. Give me some hits. Help me out.
Well, you know, I don't need to help you to not find Flannery. You can just.
Fine.
So you thinking maybe you can like convince him to give you something that he knows that maybe he doesn't want to tell you.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know what that would be.
So what's the leverage that you're using?
Maybe I am just gonna actually like threaten to stick Vargas back on him.
Okay.
Maybe I could just be like, this guy's not giving me what I want, so he obviously doesn't want anything to do with Vargas, and so I could just imply that maybe I'll mention that you called me today. And I'm really unsure about why you called me.
Yeah. Maybe you're getting a bit too close, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that sounds to me like intimidation.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Um,
For sure. Okay, so
yeah, so I
bear
think
with
this
me.
this is like you're talking over the phone. It's not like you're being physical or anything.
No, this is just, trash talk.
Yeah. I think, I mean,
Street.
it's difficult, right? Um,
Yeah. I mean, it's
so
another cop who's, has a.
who's at least as dirty, if not more.
Yeah.
Than you, right?
For sure.
Okay, so let's make this difficulty +2. So remind ourselves about the rules. That +2 is added to your die roll of 2d6. And then the number you're trying to hit is the stat plus your skill. So soul plus intimidation. Is this street that's your specialty in intimidation? It kind of feels street to me. It's like, I know you're both cops, but you're definitely criminals right now.
Yeah, and it's definitely not like the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Which street kind of seems like more the backwards way of doing it, the less legal way of doing it, I guess.
So that bumps your skill up by 1 to 3, and your soul is 5, so that means 8. So you're rolling 2d6, adding 2 to it, and looking for 8 or lower.
Okay. Nope. So I rolled a 9, so I got 11. So.
Okay. So that is a minor failure. Okay, yeah. So I think Jack just kind of laughs in your face, right? Don't even pretend that you would mention that you're in cahoots with me, right? Because Vargas doesn't care that you're the guy who told him. You know the way he treats his CIs, and that's what you will be, a CI, a criminal informant. And I don't know what's worse, you getting revealed as a dirty cop, or you getting revealed as a dirty cop to who's paying you, right? Who do you think will tear you down first? Don't mess with that shit.
Okay. I get pissed off and I just slam the phone down, just hang up on him. And I go and get back in my car, really pissed off. Turn it back on. It's loud. Vargas, he's about to ask me what's going on, and I say I don't want to talk about it. Just totally shut him down. I'm not sure where to go next.
So we leave you some time to think about that, and maybe we can kind of discuss meta-wise where we want things to head when I come back to you, right?
Cool.
Okay, cool. So Juan, you've got a target and a location, right? So I guess he gives you obviously the details of the hotel and the suite number and all that kind of stuff.
What floor is it on? What floor is it?
I mean, so I don't know Cleveland, so I don't know what your average nice hotel is, but if it's like
probably 10 stories ish.
Yeah, so if it's like a old but not too old, it's going to be in the baby skyscraper territory. Maybe it's like 9 or 10 stories, and so I think maybe they're going to have like the top floor. Maybe they have the whole top floor. Maybe it's a penthouse thing, which kind of shows that these guys are all about the money, which is not like obviously not what you see from your organization.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that strikes you as being, typical,
So it's the kind of room that has its own elevator. Like you have to have a special key to get in there. Okay, that makes security a little bit more interesting. But on the other hand, I wasn't planning on shooting him from inside the hotel, so.
Yeah. And again, if this is like downtown Cleveland, there's bound to be other buildings across the street or with a diagonal.
Relatively straight line of view. Yeah. Line of sight. Okay. What time of day is it?
I think this is like early evening.
It's too early. I need to wait for dark. I think I'm just going to wave down a cab and go home and talk to my Finch for a little bit.
Okay.
Wait for night to fall.
And is there any prep so maybe we can dive into this like a little bit later, but is this like just a recon walk by under cover of darkness, or is this like you go in, you see what's going on, and you like do the job right there and then, don't get spotted twice kind of deal? What kind of assassin is Huang when it comes down to it?
Well, right now, back at home, I'm shaving off every last bit of hair and prepping my kit, prepping the case for the gun, prepping clips, making sure that everything is appropriately zeroed in. And then when night falls, I will steal a late model car that is common, so I'll just go to a parking lot and pick out like a Toyota or a Nissan, something along those lines. And I will drive downtown. I know where the hotel is. I have an idea of what buildings are nearby. Security is, well, I mean, there's not really much in terms of security. I mean, there might be a security camera going into a parking structure if I were going into a building. But I'm pretty sure that I can get into a building of an approximate height, or at least a structure of an approximate height, that I can pull the trigger without getting spotted on a camera. But, just in case, I'm basically wearing clothes that are nondescript.
Yeah.
A zip-up jacket, a t-shirt, khakis, some tennis shoes, and underneath is, my sniper's gear. Basically a black bodysuit, black ski mask, so I can basically turn invisible when the lights are out. Yeah, and I have my little device to basically do a low level, basically just kind of EMP the area that I'm in. So, I can knock the lights out. So, the top floor of a parking structure will go dark, that sort of thing.
Okay, cool. So, I think that kind of whole entry without being seen sounds like burglary to me, right?
Sure.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
Or do you want to take it like getting the right spot and making sure you're not seen as more like a tactical challenge? I don't know what you prefer.
Let's go with tactics, because I mean, part of it is knowing what building will be appropriate, as well as how to circumvent the challenges to get into it and get in position.
Yeah. Okay, so let's make this a military sciences check with your tactics specialty, right?
Yeah.
Because being a sniper, obviously, like succeeding in your mission is really important, but like the most important
infill and
thing
exfil
exactly,
are critical.
Yeah. Like it's not the highest building; it's the one that's easiest to get in and out of without getting spotted. Right. That's the sniper way. Right. Now it's evening downtown. I imagine it's busier than you would like, but maybe that's again part of the challenge is picking a building that's not that maybe office after hours or whatever.
And just to make it fun, why not have why not have Cleveland playing the Yankees that night?
So
plenty of traffic,
it's been
plenty
a
of
busy
pedestrians.
Week, right? Yeah. And maybe this is why our mafia friends have chosen this week to come here, right?
The Yankees are in town.
New York team, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
New York, it's the Yankees. I mean, they're doing a 3-game stand at the Jake. So
yeah, seems a lot busier than usual. Certainly at hotels, right? So yeah, let's make this a. I think this is a difficult challenge to get in and identify a way out that gives you a good shot at this penthouse suite.
All right.
So this is mind, military sciences plus your bonus for tactics.
All right, so that is my mind is 8 and tactics is 10 or is 2, so that's a total of 10.
And you get a bonus for tactics. Sorry, military sciences 2, and then +1 for it being in your specialty. So
that's 11.
That's 11. So then you're rolling 2d6, adding 2 for the difficulty, and getting 11 or below.
All right. So let me switch over to this. That's a 3.
That seems pretty good to me. So that's a 5, which is 6 below your target number, which is pretty stonking. That's like one level short of critical success. So yeah, why don't you just narrate how you get to the window and you got everything sorted out, and then like when we come to the exfil, we will remember that level of success.
Well, the interesting thing is, if it's okay with you,
yeah,
it's not even a window; it's a parking structure.
Okay.
And I literally go to I just drive this stolen car up to the top floor of the structure, wheel it around, realize I've got a clear line of shot. I've got a clear line of sight from the driver's side window straight across to the hotel. And I don't even have to do anything with the lights because a couple of them have already burned out over here and they just haven't been replaced. So I can literally just stick the rifle out the window and pull the trigger. And, like I said, it's a late model car. It's a relatively new, some sort of Toyota sedan, a Corolla, maybe a Nissan Sentra, something like that. Nothing too flashy, nothing too noticeable.
Cool. Okay, and then I mean for that role, right? Maybe it's a little bit awkward because you're spotting through a scope, or maybe you have a set of binoculars for spotting, right? But you can kind of have an eye in a couple of different windows at the corner of the penthouse suite, right? And you can start spotting individuals inside there. And again, the dossier you got from YU probably has a photo of your target, this Dino Cesarini. So yeah, it'll take time, but you'll have spotted who and who's with him and all that kind of stuff in in the usual amount of time, maybe an hour or two of spotting to figure out exactly who's who and what their kind of routine is. How does that sound?
Sounds fine to me.
Cool. Okay. So let's go back to Ricky. Don't want to talk about it. I mean, like, it's a girl.
What was that?
He's wondering, what could you possibly not want to talk about?
So I think at this point, Ricky's feeling the pressure to he really wants to get to Flannery for whatever reason, which Clint is not sure of. I want to like ditch Vargas, go to where I think Jack was, and be a little bit more physical to demand that information.
Okay.
Or, I mean, I have a mob ties of 3, so I probably know somebody else.
Okay. Yeah.
As well.
So, I guess then the kind of question, right, is how do you get rid of Vargas?
Right. So,
sorry, I was just about to wonder, like, if you have a couple of extra leads, then do you say, like, we got to split up because this guy is obviously on the lam, and you take these and I'll take these, and you take the best lead for yourself, or just use that opportunity, like you say, to go to someone else in the organization?
Yeah, I definitely want to like kind of make this like a quicker sort of montage, almost like where I convince Vargas to go somewhere else. It could be a completely outrageous sort of like total red herring side quest for him.
Yeah.
And just quickly get to this new place and heavy-handedly get information out of Jack or another person that happens to be there.
I mean, I think
because I don't feel like
that, you do have that handy attribute, art of distraction, right? So
yeah, and I also have like this divine relationship, which I think is just kind of a luck point.
Yeah,
right?
It's just a reroll, right?
Yeah, so like there's little things in here that I'd kind of like to just go crazy on and just try to just power.
Let's get some value out of those points.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I think I think you give him a lead. Maybe it is your best lead, right? But or maybe you think you can maybe keep the best lead to yourself, but give him something that's still good, right? And then
so the lead I give him is one that is could be dangerous depending on the outcome of something, but so I want to send him where where he thinks he's going to go find like the leader of this Irish mob.
Yeah.
Like, I want you to go stake out this place.
Yeah. I mean, you could send him to the bakery, right? Because you're pretty sure there's some kind of connection there.
Yeah, sure. Or like there's maybe I actually already know that there's another place that they do hang out, like a different place that's more fortified.
So some kind of bar or upstairs bar or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, an Irish pub.
Inevitably.
Yeah. Called O'Murphy's.
O'Murphy's? Okay.
Yeah, why not? And so yeah, I have to like convince him to go stake that out, and I tell him that Flannery's supposed to be there, although I don't know that at all. I'm just telling him that.
And something like, they know me, so I can't go in there, right? Something like that. Okay. Cool.
He saw my face yesterday, so I can't just be seen sitting out in front of their hangout.
Cool, that works. So The art of distraction. Any special rules here?
Where is that?
Yeah, it just means that, so it allows you to distract a number of people at a critical moment, provided you have some method of communicating with them.
Well, I think right now, like for me to, like, are we doing like a roll for me to convince him?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair, but you, yeah. I mean, I think based on that, like, it's going to be pretty easy. So maybe we don't need to roll. Maybe it's just it's too good a story, right, for him to ignore. And you'll just drive around the block or whatever it is, so you can make contact with your person, right?
Yeah, actually, just to make myself have to pay something to do this, he refuses to go unless he takes my car.
Okay.
So now I'm stuck having to find a way to get where I want to go.
Okay, cool.
So he drops me back off at the police at the headquarters, and I get the beat up old cop car.
You got to sign out something.
Yeah, I got to sign out the old boxy Crown Vic thing. Okay. So I want to go hunt down Jack, who was holding out information.
Yeah, so you're like, I guess you can just go to his precinct, or maybe page him again and have him show up at the payphone that he uses, right?
No, I'm just going there.
Okay, cool.
The phone call just was too easy for him to hang up on me.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I guess you show up in his precinct, and he's doing something, right? He is maybe in the middle of.
I mean, he's sitting there at his desk, just on the phone, doing something that I don't, doing his work. He sees me come in, and I'm just eyeing right at him.
And it's like he gives you a look, and then fobs off whoever's on the phone with him, says, "I got to call you back," right? And puts down the phone, and comes over, and like, I don't know, maybe like brings you outside to the coffee stall or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I think we established there was a coffee or food stall at every corner, right?
Yeah, there's totally a coffee truck outside, little hot dog cart, but type of thing.
What are you doing here?
I need Flannery. I need you to tell me where he's at.
Like, if you go after Flannery, they'll have us. They'll cut our throat and throw us in wherever.
What's all this us stuff?
Okay, they'll throw you into a foundation somewhere.
Let me deal with that. So, are we doing the same?
So, I think maybe he tells you, but it's not like he doesn't think this is a good idea. So maybe he's going to cover his own ass, right?
Yeah.
Does that work for you, or do you want to roll to get clean?
It doesn't matter. I mean, if I get the information, just forward progress, it's fine. Roll or not.
Yeah. So there's like he just like tells you where it is. It's some like a shitty motel, like on a not quite out of town, but maybe in a rundown part of town near the suburbs or whatever.
Okay.
And he's holding up there.
All right. I jump in my car.
I don't know where you found that information, Ricky.
Do what?
I don't know where you found that information, Ricky.
What information?
You better come up with a good story.
I don't need a story. All right, so I jump in my little crap box cop car and I head out to said, what was the name of this place? Hotel.
Hotel. It's like the Cartwright
Uh-huh.
luxury hotel, you know.
All right. Cool.
Which is obviously a much grander name than the actual establishment.
All right, it's like the Sir Cartwright, you know.
Okay. I think we should cut back to Juan. So, yeah, I guess over the course of your kind of surveillance hour or so, you spot the guy. I think he's probably dressed in. You probably see him getting into Yankees gear. He's going to a game tonight.
No, he isn't.
He thinks he is, right? There's like two bodyguard types there. They are not terrible. They're not good enough, but they're not terrible, right?
They're not expecting this.
Yeah. There is, I think, maybe a girlfriend or maybe an adult daughter with him. Maybe a couple of other people who are just along for the ride. So they're not. They might be friends, or they might be kind of people who he wants to get them on his good side or whatever, without applying much pressure. Hey, come on up for the game or whatever. So it's a pretty small deal, to be honest. And yeah, I think, it's a nice hotel, right? So these windows that you'll be shooting through are not old and thin. They might be double glazing. They're not going to be armored, right? But they're going to.
They're not going to break easily because they don't want people jumping out of the windows and splattering themselves on the street below.
Nothing that your heavy rifle won't punch through, but something to worry about.
And just to make sure that I have his attention.
Yeah.
I'm going to place a call to the hotel. I'm going to basically use my little go-to box to make the phone in his room ring.
Okay. I think obviously, he is not going to be picking up his own phone, right? What do you take it for? But I think the young woman picks it up. She gets to it before anyone else.
And where is he standing at this point?
Well, okay, so you tell me. You pick the time of the phone call, right? And he's moving around the room. What do you think seems, maybe he might be sitting at a table, reading a newspaper, like talking about whatever garbage this Cleveland so-called journalist is writing about his team, right?
All right, so 7:05 start time. I figure this is probably 6:30-ish.
Okay.
Yeah, if he's sitting in a chair, like reading through the paper, and I've got line of sight, and I can actually see him. I'm assuming that the phone is not too near this chair. Because the entire point of it is, I want him. I'm not there to kill every single person in the room.
Yeah.
He is the target. This is a message. So go ahead.
So the woman picks up, and is there any answer, or is this just a device that makes the phone ring? And
just makes the phone ring.
Okay.
It's just a distraction.
So I think, like in that moment, you can kind of see it, and like maybe the chair, again, not going to stop like a high caliber bullet, but you can see him turn towards the phone, right? And he puts his arm over the back and turns towards you, right? Towards the phone. And, he is making like he's speaking, right? You can kind of see that action.
The lips moving.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just going to pull the trigger.
Okay. So on the rules tab, right, you can see there's a bunch of stuff here in terms of call shots. So you have just check. So if you're calling a shot, say if you want to hit him in the head, this is a vital spot, right? Seems plain enough. And you have dead eye, right?
I have everything except for one of them.
So that halves the penalty. So that's, instead of a +4, that's a +2 for targeting that.
And then this is somewhere between short and medium range.
Yeah, the range doesn't really matter.
Okay.
It is really just to say this is this is what the weapon can achieve, right?
Gotcha. Okay.
But you're well. I think you're well within your range for this rifle.
There's no way it's more than half a click.
Yeah. It's.
I mean, this is basically across the street, so it's more than 50 meters, which is roughly 150 yards. Actually, it might not be much beyond that. That's basically a football field and a half.
Yeah, so maybe 100 meters, which is, what, like, basically for a rifle like this, it's pretty much
point range
blank.
almost.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, yeah, vital spot, heart, brain, spine, rather than simply shooting at the. Okay, so that makes sense to me. In terms of armor,
it's a headshot. There's no head armor unless he's wearing a helmet.
No. In terms of like mechanical armor, there's shooting through the window, right?
Okay.
Which is going to subtract a couple from your damage, but not significant, not enough to save him, I suspect. Okay, so yeah, so let's work out what we need to do. So you're going to roll less. So again, just like a normal skill roll less than or equal to your attack combat value with your skill bonuses. So your attack combat value is
11.
Yeah, which is pretty good. Rolling less than or equal to that is pretty easy, right? You've gun combat 6, which is added to that. So there's a real bonus to taking gun master or taking combat mastery.
So that puts us at 17 for the attack combat value.
Yeah. So
okay.
I don't think there's anything else going
on. Does Deadeye get drawn in here?
Deadeye is already having the penalty. So normally the penalty would be +4, and it's instead +2.
What about steady hand?
Steady hand. That is firing from a vehicle. Technically, you are firing from a vehicle. But I think it's a moving vehicle, right? The only thing I would say is normally I would say like firing from a sitting position sideways is really not a great snipering position. But I would say you have steady hands, so let's just ignore it, right?
Okay.
Sitting is probably the worst snipering position. But anyway. So yeah, I think based on that, I think it is mostly a question of don't roll a 12.
So I'm rolling 2d6 to get under 17.
Yeah, sorry, to get, you're rolling 2d6, adding 2 because of the difficulty.
Okay.
And yeah, getting anything but a 12.
Okay. That's a 4.
That is pretty good.
It's under 12.
Yeah, it is under 12. Okay, so again, so the damage on your rifle is, let me just check weapons and gear. I think it'll be 15 or something horrible like that, but maybe it's 10. Okay. Yeah,
damage is 15.
Yeah. And with a critical shot, like aiming at a vital spot, it is doubled. Right. I have that right, don't I? Just double check that. Sorry, it's an automatic critical hit. Okay. Which means, okay, so just roll 1d6 and we'll figure out if it's, so on a 1 to 3, it's double damage. On a 4 to 6, it's triple damage. On a 6, it's quadruple or instant kill.
That's a 3.
Okay, so that's double damage. So that's merely 30 points of damage, right? And if you look at your own sheets, right, you will see that that is, depending on his stats, not quite enough to kill him outright, although he will be bleeding out, but definitely enough that will put him, that is over his shock value. So, so what I'll say, right, is that, the shot hits him, the kind of, the spray is pretty evident to you, and like he goes down like straight away, and you're confident that he is maybe not dead right this instant, right? Maybe it didn't quite go straight through the center of his brain, but he will be dead soon, right? Of shock or blood loss.
Only if there's no intervention.
Yeah. But how soon can people get here, right? Unless one of his friends is like an ER surgeon or something, right?
Well, having been watching, I know who the bodyguards are.
Yeah.
I might as well go ahead and take them out too.
Okay. That will certainly dissuade anyone else from popping their head up, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, these guys are, they are bodyguards. They are used to this kind of thing. So one of them is gone straight over to his boss. The other one is looking for the shooter.
I'm going to take out the one looking for the shooter.
Okay.
So again, I'm rolling under 12.
So let's, so you're like, let's Now you're like 100 meters away. It's nighttime. I would say, by and large, there's like not a hope in hell of this guy seeing you, right? But the shot is going to be a little bit more difficult, right? Because he's not sitting there. He's looking for you. He's looking at a window. You don't know which window he comes to. He might move around, right? Mm-hmm. So I think we're going to do two things. One is I want you to make a really easy stealth check. You're concealing yourself, right? And then I think we'll make a more difficult shot for him. I think let's go back to Ricky right now. Okay.
I kind of want to keep watching this.
So,
I mean, we can jump to Ricky if you want, but
yeah. So Ricky, you are heading to this flop house, for want of a better word, to describe this motel. Mm-hmm. What's your approach in this case?
I just pull up and I'm guessing that Jack had an actual room number for me.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Okay. So I just go up and I just start banging on the door.
Okay. And like, I mean, okay, so you know you've been a cop quite a while, maybe not a detective for long, but there's, you know, when someone who's kind of on the run thinks the cops are outside, you know,
I don't say that I'm a cop. I just start banging on the door.
Yeah, well, you know, someone is banging on the door, and this guy isn't really sticking around. Like, what do you hear inside that makes you think he's doing a runner, right?
Well, I hear just a bunch of like movement towards the back, and the back window open.
Yeah.
Maybe the bathroom door slams. And
so what do you want to do?
I want to kick the door in.
Okay. Yeah, cheap motel. I can't imagine. It's not wanting to do it myself to test it out, but you know, it splinters like the cheap wood it is, right?
Yeah, and I'm strong. I have, you know, decent.
Yeah.
And I'm good at burglary, so I probably could just pop a door.
You know where to kick.
Yeah.
It's not the door; it's the lock, right? That gets kicked out. So yeah, I think you know, I don't know if if he's like out of the window by the time you get into the bathroom or whatever. Like, but you haul him back in.
Yeah, his legs are just like dangling still inside.
Yeah. And I think, you know.
So I grab him by the waist and I'm pulling him back in.
I think he's given us, right? So he is like kicking out.
Yeah.
Right back at you, right? He is not going to go easy. So I think this seems like unarmed combat to me. Unless you want to.
No, I mean, that makes sense.
Okay.
Definitely like fighting, like more, you know, wrestling him, I guess.
So Jim Flannery seems like a bruiser. So I'm going to give him like some stats in this regard.
Yeah. Can I pull out my little nightstick and use that to apply some pressure to his legs, as they say?
So like as soon as he like kicks out, you're just like maybe stepping back and
no, I'm just, you know, like as I'm dragging him, I'm also just just enough to inflict some pain so that he'll give up fighting.
Okay, so let's call this a body plus body plus melee attack.
Yeah.
Good.
So melee is 2. So body is 6, so 8. What am I looking to roll under here?
So yeah, you are, again, it's pretty much the same as before. You're rolling your attack combat value plus your skill.
Okay.
And Now he is like actively defending this, right? So he's
Okay.
going to get a roll to block you. But
Oh, I got you. So we're gonna do like a opposition roll.
yeah, exactly. Now,
All right. So
a guy sitting in a chair, not expecting the attack, does not get a defense roll. But
gotcha.
Um,
So I rolled a 7.
okay.
So 9 if we had the melee attack.
No, so it's your attack combat value plus the skill is what you're looking for.
Okay, so I needed
So
a less than a 10. So
yeah. So you hit him, and
cool.
I will roll for him in his defense. So he his defense combat value is 7. His unarmed defense is 3. Yeah, I'm going to roll for that. So he needs a 10 or less to block it. He gets a 10. Right. So yeah, I think he is just kicking out to defend himself, right? So maybe he hits your forearm with his foot as your blow comes in, and it just kind of slides off his leg. But he stops trying to escape because that's a terrible game to play. Crawl out a window while someone tries to hit you, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think he's going to try to punch you in the face.
All right.
So same thing for him. He is looking for anything but a 12, basically. No, so I mean, I don't think it. I mean, it's not vital, right? He's just trying to punch you, right, or kick you, or whatever. So yeah, he rolled a 4. So on your defense, you get to do something similar to him. So you're rolling your versus your defense combat value, and then your melee defense.
So my defense is 6, so I want to get less than an 8. Is that the idea?
So your defense combat value plus your melee defense, their attack and defense are 2 separate skills.
Yeah, I see that.
Okay.
So, well, I rolled a 7.
Okay. So if that's a miss, he's going to do damage to you.
Okay.
Unless you want to use your once per session divine relationship to do a reroll.
Nah, not yet. This isn't worth it. I'll take some damage.
Getting a kick.
Yeah, that's fine. I can take a kick.
So I would think that just check. I'm not sure there's a new listing for damage is equal to the attacker's attack combat value plus bonus for focus damage and massive damage. So yeah, you take what did I say his attack bonus was? 9. So you take 9 points of damage.
Okay.
So that's taken off your health points.
Gotcha.
It's not higher than your shock value. So it doesn't I
don't pass out or anything.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything significant that way. But maybe you get an elbow in the face or a punch in the gut or something like that really that you really feel.
Okay.
Okay, I think it's probably time for a break.
Yeah.
You guys feel about 10 minutes? So
works for me.
Back at 5 to the hour?
Sure thing.
Okay, cool. So, let's go back to Huang trying to pick off one of these bodyguards in the penthouse suite. So like you said earlier, one of these guys is trying to take care of the principal, and the other one is trying to spot you. So, I mean, so far, so professional. So yeah, I mean, he kind of ducks for cover and looks out a window and tries to spot where the shot could be coming from, even though, I think it's very, very unlikely that you're gonna be spotted. But let's have you make a stealth check. This is concealment, I think, no problem. So you get that bonus. I think difficulty wise is going to be extremely easy. So
okay.
-2 to your die roll.
Okay, so what do I need to roll under here?
So your so stealth is body.
Okay.
So you're rolling, you're looking for body plus your stealth +1 for your concealment specialty. So I make that
looks like 7.
7, yeah. And whatever you roll, you're taking 2 off it.
Seven -2 is 5.
Okay. That works. So, yeah, I mean, I think he has the right idea, right? He is, he's looking in the right direction, whatever instinct he has for the trajectory of this bullet, he's looking in the right direction. He's maybe even looking at the right building, but the wrong floor. He is maybe looking at the top floor and you're one down, and he's just, and maybe he's just not going to spot it anyway. But I think he is, so maybe I think your shot when it comes is like when he's moving to another window to try to spot where else it could have come from.
Okay.
Or maybe he decided looking at a window where a sniper is definitely shot is a bad idea. So he is not staying there for long. So
you didn't say they were good bodyguards. You just said they were bodyguards.
Yes, yeah. I mean, so he is like obviously presenting himself as a target, but maybe not for as long as you'd like. But I think it'll be enough for you, right? So with this shot, are you you taking a cold shot to the head again, or what's the deal?
Let's see. What are my options here?
I mean, with your odds, I would say there's like -2 penalty or +2 penalty to your roll is not significant, right?
I'll go for another headshot. I mean, eventually, if I shoot enough people in the head, everybody else is just going to be going to be face down on the floor, not moving.
You would hope. You would hope.
So, all right, let's see what we got here. It's a 4 on the dice.
Okay. That's pretty good. Let us give him a defense value of, say, 4, right? And maybe he's been shot at before, but he's not terribly good at this. So let's give him 1 in 1 at being shot at.
I mean, in fairness, he may have been shot before, but very few people get shot in the head and then live to get shot in the head again.
Yeah. It's there's no great learning curve on that track.
Yeah.
So he's looking for a 5 on his 2d6 to avoid the attack. So we're rolling these. And he is not getting a 5. I mean, he got 1 5, and the other die it was a 4. So, yeah, I think, he, like, again, describe the hit. It's roll 1d6 to see what kind of critical hit you're getting on him.
That's a 6.
Okay, so that is kablamo, right? That is quadruple damage. Which is insta-kill in my book. So what did you describe exactly what goes down?
2 moments here. Let me check something. Okay, there's no line or veil on graphic injuries or gore. Basically, his head explodes like a pumpkin left outside for 3 weeks past Halloween. And just the wall behind him suddenly looks like a Jackson Pollock painting. You know, and he does that slow drop to the knees thing and then like falls forward, and then just blood starts gushing out of the stump of his neck. So what does that do to the other bodyguard in the room?
So, I mean, I think like, okay, it's a busy evening, but you imagine that you can like hear a scream as this happens. I think the other bodyguard who maybe was a little bit hidden from view, like he just pushes the table over and like hits the dirt or hits the carpet, I guess. And he is not attempting to like render any aid to Mr. Cesarini. He is just like now crawling. I mean, he's not very good at it, but he is crawling to what he imagines is some good cover.
Okay. So based on my experience, how long do I need to keep them busy for this guy to bleed out and just be DOA? Or have I already kept them busy enough for long enough that this dude is clearly dead?
So the rules on bleeding out is like after a critical hit is like one health point per round, but a round is like 10 seconds, I think. But you know, how many minutes does it take for an ambulance to get here? I think he's done. The target is done, right?
Okay, so he's dead,
and maybe like you put another shot into where the second bodyguard is to make sure he doesn't
get any bright
ideas, right? Or get up again. I don't know, but I think it's safe to say
I'm good, but I'm not good enough to see through tables.
Yeah, it's there's a certain point in which, you know, you could obviously put rounds down range and probably hit him or whatever, but that's going to attract attention, right? There's probably a balancing line here.
Yeah. So with that, I'm just going to start up the car and calmly drive away.
Okay. And I think based on our previous like success by 6, was it? For
something like that.
Picking the spot and getting in, I think you just cruise out. And like, for all intents and purposes, nothing has changed on the street outside the parking lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
People are still going about their busy days, whatever. There's no, maybe there's sirens, but there's no sirens here right now.
I mean, there's always sirens downtown
exactly.
somewhere.
So, you know, like none of these people know what's going on, basically, and you just drive out and drive back to your planned spot to dump the car or whatever.
Dump it, or I'm gonna burn it.
Yeah, dump it and dump it and destroy all the evidence.
Yeah, you know, and I'll make it look like some kids took it for a joyride and stuff like that.
Yeah. What's the kind of feeling in Hwang's head or in his mood after he does something like this?
Nothing good happens when you come to Cleveland. I'm living proof. And that's pretty much it. Just Cleveland is a place, but for Hwang, it's not a great place. But there is a park. And nobody looks at him too strangely when he takes his finch there and puts it in the tree. So, you know, it could be worse.
So, like when he, I mean, I don't want to do the mechanics of cleanup, right? But I presume all of his gear, like the gear he can replace easily, maybe gets dumped in the car, but the stuff that is hard to come by, he cleans and puts in a bag or disassembles or whatever, and just walks away with a gym bag. Is that how you see it going?
Pretty much.
Okay.
I'm sure I've got some bolt holes around where I can stash stuff.
Cool. Yeah.
Come back and get it later if I need to. And I make very careful. I'm very careful to not buy anything too noteworthy. Like, this isn't a surplus military sea bag that I picked up at a surplus store. It's just like a champion gym bag that I picked up at a sporting goods store.
Yeah.
So it's just as boring and bland as I can make it.
Yeah.
And I try to make sure it looks mismatched, so it's like I picked it up at a thrift store almost. So
Which
it doesn't really
have,
I very well could have.
Yeah.
So, an elderly Chinese man shuffling along with what looks like a thrift store gym bag. I mean, who's going to pay attention to that?
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Ricky, you've got a bit of a fight on your hand, but he is, punching you, and you've got a lot of other feathers in your bow for that.
Yeah. So we're in the middle of a fight. Do I still have my baton in my hand?
Yeah, you do. He didn't disarm you.
Okay, so I wasn't sure if I had just getting knocked over or something. So, I mean, I'm going to try to hit him with that.
Okay. You also do have another option to escalate if you wanted to.
Ooh, I love that.
Took lightning draw, right, as one of your gunmaster picks.
Oh, yeah, I have a gun. That's right.
I mean, maybe you're not going to use it, but he doesn't know that. Or maybe you are going to.
Maybe I am going to use it. Yeah. So
yeah, normally if you don't have lightning draw, you need to kind of draw and make ready before you can fire, which means you can still dodge, but you can't attack in the same round. But lightning draw means you just ignore that.
It just happens.
Yeah.
So I think we're still too close combat for me to pull the gun and make it effective as an intimidation sort of moment.
Sure. Yeah.
We're right there. Me pulling the gun, he may not even see it, so we'll still be fighting. So it's either actually shoot him or leave the gun in my holster. Okay. And I have the baton in my hand, which is my firing hand, so I can't quickly pull it. So I'm actually just going to keep this melee fight going.
Okay.
So I'm going to swing at him.
So same as before, yeah.
Here we go. Oops. I rolled a 7.
Yeah, which I think is good enough.
And I needed my attack's an 8.
8 and 3 from your baton. So
yeah.
It was 11, right? Okay, so you hit him. I'm going to do his defense, which is not good enough. Nope, not this time. Okay, so yeah, you land with the baton on him. Let me just check the damage on that. It is 5. Seems odd. Given that he did more damage with his kick, right? But the damage on weapons is flat, and the damage on unarmed is based on your stats. So maybe that explains it. It may not be a good explanation, but I think it might explain it. Are you saying anything are you trying to make him stop the fight by any other means than just beating him to hell? Or
no, I feel I'm not gonna just keep beating him if he's stopped. That's kind of what I want. I just want to actually win the fight, but so I could still have a conversation with him.
Okay.
So
yeah.
is he still fighting back, or is he?
I think maybe you've landed a blow on him now with a baton, and that's like serious. Like it's not like getting punched; it's worse, despite the damage rating. So maybe, do you want to make an intimidation check or something like that
Yes.
to make him see sense, right?
Yeah. So maybe I've got the baton like around his neck. I'm behind him. I've been able to like kind of not subdue him, but just kind of wrangle him a little bit more.
Yeah,
and like
and tell him to just quit it.
Jimmy, stop fighting.
So I'm going to make this relatively easy. A -1 bonus on the dice, and I guess this is body plus intimidation.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I rolled a 5.
Okay. Yeah, seems good enough to me, right?
Yeah.
Because your body is pretty high, right?
It's a 6.
Okay. Well, plus intimidation.
Yeah.
Right.
Intimidation
So that's a good enough.
2. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think maybe like you woke him up, right? Banging, and he was just primed to run. So he's like standing there in his vest and his shorts, and not. Now that his brain is catching up with his body, not quite so intent on doing something stupid. So I think he like puts up his hands and says, "Who the fuck are you?"
So I say, like, you forgot about me from yesterday? So this is where I, Clint Smith, have.
So yeah, you had that run in with him in the alley, right behind the bakery.
Yeah, and that's where.
But he obviously was paying much more attention to Huang in that setup because there was a bit more of an altercation on that side. So maybe he does after a moment remember you, but he didn't remember you straight off the bat.
So this is where I don't remember. I need a story refresher. Like, what is Ricky investigating? I know I was hunting down this Irish mob. Was I looking for a person?
So from the police side, he is.
I was looking for Giles, right?
You were looking for Giles, and
okay.
So technically, Flannery is not, really a person of interest, or maybe he is, but he's like a low level, right? So you could probably pick him up on a number of different things, right?
Yeah.
So you could just pick one. I mean, from the triad point of view, from your kind of mob connections point of view, until recently, you would have considered him like one of the people that you would have generally been expected to lean on, right?
Yeah.
To put out of business or to make their lives very difficult.
I guess what I'm asking is, like, am I trying to get to Giles? I can use him as a way of getting to Giles.
Yeah, I think that's
okay. That's the idea.
The straightforward way of it. Yeah.
And okay, so I'm just I'm gonna tell him that he needs to take me to Giles. Just come out with it.
Like what? You wanna who? You're a cop. What do you want to meet him for? Does he owe you money? Do you owe him money?
Well, he's up to no good. See, that's again, I'm not sure why I'm hunting Giles, other than the fact that he's a mob guy.
The briefing that you got from Griffin was that he was definitely a bad guy, and more like fishing for something to get him on, because normally witnesses ended up going very quiet or whatever after he realized that you were leaning on them. So fishing around for something to give the justice system an excuse to
Okay,
cheat.
that's right. I'm remembering now. We don't really have like an exact thing.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
Throw enough mud at them and it'll stick, right? I think.
Yeah. Okay, how about I want to rewind my little story idea. Instead of me trying to make Flannery show me where Giles is, I straight up want to make Flannery my CI.
Yeah.
I want to make him work for me. So basically, I want to inflict the fear of God into him right now, through physical pain as well as the threat of me arresting him.
Okay. So I think that's probably like, stop fighting is an entirely different thing than, turn on your boss who you fear.
Yeah.
Right? So that sounds to me like a fresh intimidation check.
Yeah. So, okay, we're still struggling. Thank you for the story update. So,
Yeah, no worries.
So, because it got to a point where I'm like, I don't know what my motivation is. Okay.
So,
I want
what's the leverage here, or is there anything extra that you're applying?
So, well, we're still struggling, so I'm trying to get him to calm down. Do we need to roll for that?
No, I mean, I think you've stopped fighting, right? He is
Okay.
kind of seen some kind of sense in that regard. So
All
you're like just talking now.
So I've kicked him into like one of the most uncomfortable hotel chairs ever.
Yeah.
And I'm, I have the baton in my hand and I'm using it to point right at his chest, just so he can feel how like heavy and dense the metal is. And I'm just leaning into him about, talking a big game about how much I know of all the things that he's up to, even though I have really no evidence of any of this. Just straight up intimidation.
Okay.
And maybe just some nice little hard taps every once in a while, just to keep the pain kind of
just as
going.
punctuation, right?
Yeah. Like, this is me having fun right now.
Yeah. So let's make this difficult, and maybe this role kind of is an extended period of time where you make him see things in your way, right? But so yeah, difficult +2 to the roll. So this is,
I rolled an 11.
Okay, might have to count this one up. So
yeah.
So do you think this is still body intimidation, or is this so like, are you still like, I think it sounds more like body to me, right? You're poking him and you're looming over him.
It's
right?
both at the same time.
Okay. Well, let's take body, because
I
think that's slightly to your advantage.
All right.
And your interrogation is 3, and you got a bonus. Sorry, your intimidation is 2 with a bonus for street, I think, again. So
yeah.
It's 3, so that is 9. And you rolled an 11? Yeah, so that's +2 to that, so that takes it out of your range. So yeah, I think like he is hurting when you poke him, right? But this is not the first time that he has been subject to police brutality or anything. And I think like the sense you get from him, right, is that he is more afraid of Giles than he is of you, right?
Sure.
Now, I think maybe on a miss like this, which is by 4, by 4. Which is,
so it's a major failure,
it's a major
right?
failure.
Okay.
What do you think if he can play it so that you think he agrees, but he doesn't?
Right. Exactly. He totally acts like he's gonna do it, but ultimately it just has zero idea to. Okay.
So, and I think, maybe that this only he kind of wants to see how much you do know, how much you do tell him, how much it's obvious to him that like you are a danger to him or to his boss, and he kind of reckons you're not much. And then like maybe 10 or 15 minutes in, he goes, okay, I've got nowhere to live. There's people out to kill me. You're my best bet for survival. You just got to put me up somewhere, right? Or pay my bills here.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's his play, is to kind of try to make you work for him a little bit.
I do. Okay. Yeah. So how about this? Like, he actually ends up convincing me that he is working for me now.
Yeah.
And I give him the only $50 I have left in my pocket.
Okay.
Because I feel like we've had an understanding here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I leave really full of myself, although it's not true at all.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
So I think we probably want to see some aftermath. Puckett, do you have any? You get back to your home and do your usual routine, which seems very matter of fact. Like next day you're going to the park, talk to your bird, all of that kind of stuff, and maybe there's like a signal, right? An order in of compliments to the chef for the special we got last night. It was superb, best dish we've had in years. Some kind of a signal for you that the outfit has seen the job you've done and is very happy with it.
I think it's one of those things where the next day's paper it's pretty innocuous. Two shot in downtown hotel, details unclear because, well, it happened kind of late-ish.
Yeah.
So the morning paper won't really have much, but the evening news will. And it'll have more, and then the next day's paper will be probably a front page story. Maybe. Depends on whether they figure out the mob connections there.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's got to be a police officer who's willing to say, yeah, they were connected with an outfit out in New York and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. And like you say, maybe one paper will get that story by the next morning, not this morning, but the tomorrow morning. And then it'll kind of slowly seep out and people start to dig into details of Mr. Cesarini's business, right?
Yeah. But as far as I'm concerned, it's a day to go to the park.
Yeah.
It's a day to allow my finch to get some fresh air. It's a day to sit and people watch and feed some pigeons.
Yeah.
Some sparrows.
And I mean, I imagine Ricky, right, has got a lot of paperwork because he has a CI now and he's starting to get his claws into this case that
well, Ricky's not going to actually claim him as a paid CI. He's going to keep this off the books.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're going to have to concoct some kind of story with for Vargas and for Griffin, right? But I think you probably imagine that you're getting somewhere, right? You like you said, like you think this is a good CI, and you're going to get somewhere. So, do you think there's another trip to the park in you, or?
Yeah, I think it's a good time for that. So I go to the park, and today the Euro cart's not there, and I'm that's okay. There's a kind of carts out there today. an arepa cart. You guys have one of those? Really good. Maybe a burrito truck. Yeah, that's what it is. A nice big, like, Southwest style burrito. Lots of rice and beans. And so I get that, and I get an extra bag of tortilla chips in my order. I look around and look and see if I see my my friend Peter anywhere. Is he there?
I mean, it's the park. I'm sitting on the bench where I normally sit.
All right. So I look around and then I see you, and I'm like, there he is. So I go over and I sit down. Without saying anything, I pull out my burrito, peel off the top layer of the tin foil, and I start eating. Reach in the bag and I pull out the extra bag of tortilla chips and I say, "You think your birds want these?" I hand over the bag.
I look at you and say, this is tremendously unhealthy for birds.
It's good enough for humans.
It is not good for humans either. Do you have any idea what your stomach looks like with that stuff inside it?
Delicious.
Birds eat seeds.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Well,
They eat seeds. This is why I said, bring seeds.
Okay. I guess I'll have to get some more seeds then.
I sigh.
Yeah. So I continue to eat, and I say to him, "So, what do you do in your spare time when you're not at the park or slapping ruffians about?"
I sit at home and I watch my bird.
You have a bird at home? Do you bring him here? Is one of these your birds?
I point to the cage in the tree.
Oh, missed that.
They like fresh air. They live longer if they get to come outside.
Okay. So, I'm not sure what to do about. I don't think any sort of intimidation is gonna like get him to tell me about what he does in his spare time, or what I think he does in his spare time.
And in fairness, he has already told you the truth. He does spend a lot of time talking to his bird.
True.
That's the great thing about this. It's not a lie.
Yeah.
So to you, it reads like telling the truth. It's just not the complete truth.
Uh-huh.
And based on like previous play or recounting of like what the usual shtick is, Ricky just talks, and then Huang gives some kind of insight that proves to be very, very useful, right?
If Ricky understands it.
Yeah. So, I mean, and this has always been about like people other than him. So I guess you don't have any expectation of what would work this time,
right? Yeah. So I'm just like, I'm not sure, like, is the goal right now to get us to work together, or is the goal, I'm just speaking meta-wise, like, I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess the, in terms of the way that the people the triad that you're working for is operating, right? The people that like Flannery and Giles's crew are now kind of aligned with them against the mafia. So there's that awkwardness, right? And if you push hard on that, it could come back to bite you, So I think, like, is it interesting to see what happens when Ricky pushes too hard on that? Or is it interesting to just see whether the two of you can come to some kind of understanding?
Yeah, I'm just not sure where to go with this right now, honestly, because like I feel like I've spent time like not investigating him and not actually looking at what he's been doing. That
But you got Flannery. But you got Flannery.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, as a player, I don't know where we're going for the next like 2 hours or a half hour and a half or whatever.
Let me ask you this: is your focus on Flannery and Giles? How much attention are you paying to Jack when he said drop it? Because it sounds like you're not paying a tremendous amount of attention to him.
To Jack, no, because for whatever reason, which is a problem, I think the problem I'm really having is I don't know why I feel like I have to stalk this Giles person, other than my chief told me I had to.
Yeah, I mean, like, he is definitely a criminal, right? And he's a mob boss.
Sure.
Right? So the fact that you don't have anything that you can bring to court is, like, in some respects, right, proof that he is evading justice, right? He is leaning on witnesses and whatever else, right? So it's not like you don't have a very legitimate reason to try to go after him. But like I guess the point is, right, the people you work for, the triad, don't want you to be going after him.
Right.
So is like,
right, and that's exactly where I'm kind of getting hung up. Is like I don't really know what I'm doing right now.
Okay, so I mean, so the kind of interesting part here is like which part of Ricky's duty is gonna, or his sense of what he's supposed to be doing in the world is going to win out. Is he going to try to get this bad guy, or is he going to try to play it safe and do what the triad are telling him to do? And that I think is just a question for you as a player. Like, what is more interesting to you in terms of like the arc of the character?
Well, I mean, I don't care about Giles at all. Like, I don't care to bust him or anything unless something compels me to do it. There's no motivation for me to do it other than he's a bad guy, but I don't care about that because I'm not necessarily a good guy.
Well, maybe if we established in play, you start monologuing about that conflict, you get some sort of useful insight.
Yeah, so like I think that's the dynamic we've had before, right? Is that when you're not sure about things, you just talk about them, and then Huang will give you kind of some kind of insight. But I mean, I think like what you do with that is still the same kind of problem, right? It's like what do you want to do as a player? Is like what kind of trouble do you want to be getting into,
right? I don't know. What do you guys think? I'm just kind of, I don't know.
I mean, from Huang's perspective, not that he knows that you are tied up in this stuff, but if you started talking about how, you've got this problem with the Irish mob, but there's, this other stuff going on in town, you might get some useful insight. Otherwise, Wong might get a call for the special cashew chicken. So, it kind of depends on Ricky, because it's not that Wong is Huang follows instructions. If he is told to put somebody in the ground, they will go in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And if Ricky continues pushing ahead with this, I mean, Jack's already kind of told you, drop it, let it go. Do whatever you have to, take the hit on your career, just drop it and let it be. If you keep pushing ahead on the Irish side of things, that's probably going to blow up on you. So, which is more interesting? Like having everything blow up in your face? Because, you're sitting here, you're sitting on the park bench talking to an old Chinese guy who every once in a while says something that seems useful. So why are you sitting there?
Mm-hmm.
Are you confused about something? Are you perplexed? Are you conflicted? Because from the sound of things, when you're perplexed, confused, or conflicted in some way, you wind up on that park bench talking.
Yeah.
I mean, to pick up on a point there, like the kind of interesting, like ghost dog style tragedy here could be like Ricky suddenly cares about his work and pushes hard, where maybe he wouldn't have before, and that gets the triad to say, we got to stop this cop from blowing up this new alliance or understanding we have with the Irish mob, and like Puckett said, Huang gets a call to deliver a special to Ricky,
Yeah, I mean, I like all that. I'm just like, I keep going back to what I was excited about at the beginning, which was Ricky trying to follow this guy who I think is, oddly connected to a bunch of unsolved murders, or, like I'm more intrigued by like following and stalking what Peter's doing.
Okay, yeah.
Than this whole other like mob stuff. I mean, it's part of that, but like, I don't know. Sorry about this. Sorry, I'm just kind of.
That's okay.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense to me too, right? That you're kind of, you found out, through this little, pearls of wisdom that Huang has dropped, that there's more to this guy than meets the eye, and you have suspicions, and like last week when you followed him home, right?
Yeah.
That wasn't really to see him safely home. That was to figure out what's going on. So
right.
Yeah, I mean that's the kind of, it's almost like is it like kind of it's the wrong genre, but like a horror motif, is that like something is behind this facade and you want to find out what it is, right?
Yeah, and it's definitely kind of like, I mean, what you said before we started playing, it's like this cat and mouse game.
Yeah.
Where I'm being my detective and I'm trying to figure out who this guy is.
Yeah. So like we could lean into that a bit more if that sounds good to you, Puckett.
That's fine with me.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So do you want to like do this kind of scene in the park, and then maybe we can kind of fast forward to a time when Ricky is like staking out Huang's place or trying to follow him when he's on a job or something like that.
We can do that.
Yeah. Or how about, let me take a 5-minute break.
Okay.
Get a little snack, think about this for a second, and we'll come back. How about that?
Works for me.
So back at 1:45.
Thank
you.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I think Ricky is probably pulled into this major investigation, right, for this double homicide, mob hit on this mafia outfit that's been making moves in the city recently. So I think this is a big, the mayor wants people on this.
The
Right?
mayor.
Um,
So can we start with like me standing in the frame of the window and I'm looking at the 2 bullet holes?
yeah,
We
yeah,
do like a very 70s like shot zoom back out to roughly where the car would have been parked in the parking lot, the parking deck.
yeah.
And I'm kind of guessing that that's around where the shot was taken from.
Sure, yeah.
Uh,
So yeah, I think this is probably police sciences forensics style check,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. So I'm trying to find out the location of the shot.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe I do one of those string things where I drag the string from the bullet to the blood splatter on the wall.
Yeah.
So that's forensics, which is a 2 plus my mind probably.
Yeah, so it's mind plus police sciences plus 1 for your forensic specialty.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I mean, this is so we have 2 ways we can do this, I think. First of all, I could just make it a difficult check, which it seems like it. Or the other possibility is to make it like a pose roll between Ricky and Huang.
Okay.
Um, what do you think, Puckett?
I think to save time, just set the difficulty higher.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
maybe use because I rolled really well, maybe make it even more difficult than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, extremely difficult is +4, right? It seems.
Well, I rolled a 10 on it. So
Okay. So not gonna happen, I think, is how it works. And like we had when we described the scene, right? Huang didn't step out of the vehicle.
So,
He like the best thing you could have hoped for was like a shell casing, but maybe that because of the way he was using it, like it bounced around inside the car and didn't get ejected into the scene.
So we have me like pacing up and down that parking structure, just like looking around. There's nothing.
And also like we have like as established the camera coverage is really spotty, and even the car he picked was like, average car, average color, average, right? So everything is I think like, leading you into dead ends or just not giving you anything to go on, right? Like
I'm curious.
I think you're sure that this is where the shot came from, right? But there's nothing here that would I think give you anywhere else to go. No,
I gotta ask, are there cops in the hotel just like looking across the street at you like, what the hell is he doing?
Yeah, and it's like, he's, whatever it was, 200 meters across the street or down the street in this parking garage, and like, how could the shot have come from there? It was nighttime and blah blah blah. Like, they are not thinking in the mob assassin kind of territory. They're just like, on the door or standing in the window or wondering what the hell is Ricky Rocket on right now. But yeah, I mean, I guess like I wonder like what does Ricky take from this, right? Is this like this whoever did this must be a pro, or like is he starting to doubt himself, or what's going on inside his head?
No, he's not doubted himself at all. He's very headstrong with it. He knows there's something. He's pissed off that there's nothing there. So even though the car may have been bland and average, do we know what it was? Has the burned out car been called in yet?
Yeah, I think I mean, I don't know anything about Cleveland in the late 90s or whatever, but I presume it's not like there's so many burnt out cars that it just gets lost in the noise. But
I mean,
maybe no
it's
one
not
else is,
Detroit.
maybe no one else is making that leap, right? But you see a report, and the timing works for you, in terms of
Right.
what it was, and you're the only one looking for this kind of level of sophistication, right? So yeah, I think that's.
So I hear about this burned out, boring car that's 10 miles away, that to make it almost like, what's the word I'm looking for? My brain's not working. Inconspicuous enough to where it's far, it's like, that's how far I would drive to get rid of a car.
Yeah.
And not make it seem like it was like on purpose.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm going to drive out there and look at this car.
Yeah. And I guess it's a smoldering wreck, but it's like, again, not knowing any specifics, but it's like a Ford whatever, right? It's the most common car in America. You could probably make out some of the color.
It's a Honda Accord. It's a beige Honda Accord.
Yeah. I mean, it's the most common color in the state. It is, and this is like the maybe the years of working on the beat is like, this is the car that would, if it got reported stolen, would never be found because it's just so common, right? So yeah, I mean, I guess this kind of plays into the what other people would call your paranoid conspiracy fantasy, right? But what this, as conspiracy theories goes, maybe feeds into it, right? It's the perfect car for a quiet anonymous assassin to pick, right? Yeah, I think.
I mean, should I see if I can find stuff there?
Yeah, and I think there's Pocket. What kind of stuff would you have left behind? In terms of what we discussed earlier, like the things that you could easily replace.
I mean, basically, all I took with me was the gadget and the rifle.
Yeah.
He shaved beforehand, and he was trained by the People's Liberation Army Special Forces, so he's not going to leave brass behind.
Yeah.
What could you conceivably find from it? I don't know. I think he would have bleached it down and then torched it, basically, to take care of whatever the bleach didn't.
Yeah. I mean,
so it's maybe that's what gives it. Maybe that's what kind of like clues you in. Like this, it looks like it's been professionally cleaned. Like a beat cop wouldn't notice.
So is there, did you leave the bleach bottle there?
No, it'd have fingerprints on it, chance for DNA.
Okay.
So that would get taken home and thrown away in the trash. Where it would look just like somebody trying to clean.
Yeah, and I definitely I see that it's been thoroughly cleaned and then torched, so it's just kind of furthering my conviction that this was the car that was used.
Yeah, and I suppose the only thing that then you could think of is, is there, so whoever dropped the car here, went somewhere else after here. So are there is there any kind of security footage or witnesses that you could, look
Where's
for
the nearest
that
bus
might
stop?
intercept the assassin, right? You know, even if it would give you, you know, not very much, but that's the only thing I can think of here is that.
Where did it get left?
Puckett, what was the kind of location?
Vacant lot in a shot out part of town.
Okay.
So it's a long shot, I think, right? To have some kind of a witness or security cam that might have picked him up, but a very long shot.
Mostly just wondering if there's a local business nearby that I could go canvass, see if they saw anybody.
Probably a liquor store.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you think this is urban tracking, or do you think this is?
Well, this is more like police investigation, just normal, just police work.
Yeah, after you're just asking around, I guess this is police sciences again.
Yeah.
But not forensics. Right? It's
correct.
Just regular old pavement pounding.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, let's. What do you think? Difficulty on this? I think again, people are willing to talk about some guy that they may or may not have seen. I mean, getting useful details, right? I guess.
Yeah. I mean, even not necessarily like super useful details, just any.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Like, yes, there was a person, and he looked like.
Yeah. So I think maybe we're going to be relying a little bit more on the degree of success for this.
Cool.
But I still think it's quite difficult.
Sure, I respect that.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, the difficulty here might come from the store owner saying, well, why do you care about this car, not the dozen others that were dumped here over the last month and a half or something like that?
Yeah.
Well, this one had been thoroughly cleaned with bleach. It's the cleanest, dirtiest car ever.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, so it's basically the same roll as last time, without the forensic specialty and a +3 to the dice roll.
I rolled a 5.
Okay, so that is an 8, and your mind plus police is 10. Right, so that is that's a squeaking through, right? Level of degree success 2, which is minor success. So I think it takes a while, right? You're canvassing the area, you got nothing to go on really. So you end up talking to an awful lot of people. Maybe it takes days, right? I think you finally end up talking to someone who saw someone, some homeless guy who was huddled in a sleeping bag in a doorway, right? And I think Huang might have walked past him, and
I buy him a pierogi from the pierogi cart that's down the street.
So I think a little bit of food and maybe a hot drink might get him to open up to you. And like it's dark. He just saw someone walk by, right? But that like time and the place fits your theory exactly, right? But like, how much detail can he give? Right? He just like, I think. Let me know if this sounds okay, Puckett, but I think he doesn't give anything that you could really hang your investigation on, but he does describe that the person was limping, right?
Yeah. And it's complicated because it's a homeless person. So how much of that's going to hold up in court? That's like a public defender would just like tear that apart in about 30 seconds. But yeah, it's something.
All right. So And so like just hearing that really just gets me even more encouraged that it's you, that it's my guy here. But again, I'm so far away from really being able to track you like that.
Yeah, so I mean that detail to your mind, right, confirms your theory, right? Obviously, there are other people in the city with limps, right?
To me, right, yeah, to me right now, that's like, oh, that's as good as a fingerprint. That's as good as a confession. But still need more.
What's going on at work while this is going on? Like, is your captain calling you in to find out why you aren't making any better progress?
Yeah, I'm on the what's the word? Man, brain.
Is it some kind of task force, or is
the last straw?
Okay.
Like like I've been kind of shoving all my work to other people. There's no task force here.
So maybe like in the morning briefing, like you've missed it because you're doing all of these 10-mile away door-to-door calls, right? And there's something like there's a pool now for when you get suspended between the other officers who are working this.
Is that even in your precinct anymore?
Doesn't matter. It's in Ohio. You guys should let's cut back to let's cut back
to Huang. Is there like, I guess what I want to get a sense of is from Huang's point of view, is he kind of aware of this hunt for him? Does he notice any change in routine with Ricky? Is there anything kind of getting on his radar about this yet?
Normally he comes to the park at least once or twice a week. Hasn't been by the park recently. So I'm aware that he's looking into things. It would be, was Ricky interviewed by any reporters at the crime scene? Or did he show up on okay. Think maybe he was in the background of any pictures in the newspaper?
I mean, that could have happened for sure.
Okay. Yeah, so I think at this point, Wong is aware that Ricky is on that and is very carefully not paying any more attention to it than that. What was the line? Wise men or great men take matters of great importance lightly. So I am very carefully not altering my schedule at this point. I'm not altering any routine. I'm not doing anything different. I am just going to work, going to the park, going home, hanging up the bird cage in the park, people watching, feeding birds, going home. So I'm not doing anything to counteract what he is doing, because I know that the story that he is crafting is so wildly unlikely that even if he were to try to take it to someone, he would likely be laughed out of their office.
So for Ricky then, I'm wondering, is there a moment again when you kind of run out of steam and either Griffin calls you into his office again to kind of read you the riot act, or when you kind of break and confront Huang with your theory?
I'm not going to confront him directly, because what little bit I've already kind of confronted him, he's so successfully just like ignored with ease. And I definitely don't feel like I want to like physically like intimidate him.
Yeah.
So the answer is yes. I am kind of like, it's been a few days since this has happened and nothing's panned out. So I'm kind of like, I'm not discouraged. I just back off a little bit to see if another thing happens that I think could be him.
Okay. But yeah, but based on he is probably gone dark in terms of work for the Triad right now. So unless the mafia are not taking this lying down, maybe a whisper isn't loud enough for them. Maybe Juan gets called up for another job.
Do we have enough time to go through that in 23 minutes?
I'm not sure, but not sure we have enough time to go through a job, but I wonder if the preparations for that job are enough for there to be something, on Ricky's radar that he can point at, right?
Can we do a hard cut forward to a job is being presented to Peter, and I have been tipped off that something's going to happen?
Yeah.
And maybe not that something's going to happen with terms of a murder, but something that's going to happen that the police should be at. I don't know.
Yeah. What do you think, Puckett?
I mean, tips like that probably aren't going to come from the Triad.
Yeah, I mean,
but,
do you think a tip like that could come from Flannery? Right. If maybe they're
maybe.
Yeah. I mean, if the Triad trip up a little bit, it might be in their interest. A bit of jostling between allies,
Yeah.
So, do you want to, Puckett, do you want to maybe set the scene for this job, and then maybe we'll set up on Ricky to react to that.
I think the setup largely depends on who the target is.
Okay, so is this maybe something like the mafia are sending like a team in, a bunch of guys to cause trouble or to reinforce their outfit here, and they don't want to, obviously they're going to be bringing some heavy equipment, or they're going to be bringing stuff that they wouldn't fly with, so they're driving. So, here is where you can ambush them on the road. How does that sound? Or here's where they're holding up,
Yeah, because the reason I'm looking at the road is because Peter doesn't have heavy weapons expertise, and you wouldn't send him in for something like that.
Sure.
You'd send a crew.
Yeah.
But if they're holed up, yes, absolutely. Okay. Let's do that.
So yeah, why don't you describe their basic setup? Is this like a motel that they've taken over, or is this like a abandoned warehouse or whatever it is? And then how is Huang approaching it?
I think it's a house not too far away from the hole in the wall where Flaherty was holed up.
Mm-hmm.
And there's several cars out front, and there's a couple of people standing guard outside smoking. They're holding rifles, but the rifles that would probably make the cops stop by and say, but that are street legal. You know, it's not like they're out there with assault rifles and fully automatic weapons and whatnot. But once again, it's dark. And, you know, Peter's gone through the ritual, shaved everything down, put on a full tack suit, put on his tactical armor. He is geared for war. And he's not bringing the sniper rifle this time. This time it's being done close up and personal. It's like apparently the message didn't get sent last time. This time the message will be signed, sealed, and delivered. So that means, let me look at my character sheet here. Yeah, auto pistols. I'm not sure he's going for the sword. Now, what the hell? He'll have the sword on his back.
Okay, cool.
Probably won't use it because, after all, a sword is a young man's weapon. But this is, you know, this is basically for the message.
Yeah. The decapitation will definitely get someone's attention, you know, at the end.
Yeah, decapitation with a head left on the doorstep of this house will send that message very quickly. Like, you can mess around with your horses. We will simply cut your head off. So yeah, there's like I said, there's a couple of people kind of talking outside, smoking cigarettes, not really paying as much attention as they should. So how do you want to handle this? Do you want to just kind of narrate it and then have the roles be Ricky trying to put the pieces together after, or do you want to roll for like this infill, exfill?
So so what do you think, Clint? Is this kind of a situation where Ricky arrives, you know, just after, based on the tip, and like sees the aftermath, and then tries to piece it together like fresh? How does that work for you?
Or what if Ricky arrives mid-assault?
Yeah.
So, like, where you just set us is when I'm back at home and I get a phone call from someone that says, you may want to be at this place, which is a 20-minute drive away.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I think, I mean, obviously, given our time, like we could run through this like a proper combat, or we could just take a roll and see that, say that's like the encounter, right? If that works for you, Puckett?
Works for me.
Yeah, okay.
So do you want to do one roll for like killing the mobsters and then a separate roll for whatever goes down with Ricky, or one roll?
Yeah. So I think one roll for each kind of zoomed out conflict.
Okay.
So yeah, so let's start with Huang wading in, and then, you know, at kind of the height of that action, we'll cut away to Ricky getting the phone call, and then to him arriving at the scene. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So I mean, this is like a combat roll. Okay. So yes, we are rolling as normal.
Attack combat value.
Yep.
And then Gunmaster.
Yeah, your I guess gun combat pistol is giving you a 7 on top of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty handy.
Plus steady hand, 2-gun, dead-eye, lightning draw.
Yeah, the 2-gun is basically means you don't get the penalties, or your penalties are halved when you're using 2 pistols, which means, right, you're normally, if we were doing this blow by blow, you'd be getting like 2 attack rolls, right? With a lesser penalty. But I guess we're gonna bake that into the whole aftermath, right?
So I need to roll under 18 on 2d6?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, obviously we're talking about like a degree of success here. So rolling low is still good. I think like on a 12, it'll have gone horribly wrong, and maybe on a 10 or 11, you'll have taken a little bit of more damage because there's plenty of guys in here, right? For you to take care of. So if that sounds fair.
That's a 7.
Okay, solidly efficient rolling.
So they're not all headshots. Some of them are, center mass.
Yeah, and like you said, maybe the guys on like standing sentry have got street legal, but the guys inside who come out are loaded for bear. And that, you can't just walk around calmly shooting people in the head when people are throwing down that amount of bullets in your direction, right?
Yeah.
So things get a bit dicey after that. Okay, so yeah, let's cut to Ricky. Or sorry, first of all, like, why don't you give us a bit of flavor for how that goes down, and maybe stop short of wiping them all out.
I think it starts quietly enough. Like the sentries outside just go, they're down. But somebody coming around a corner inside this house manages to get a shot off, and that basically wakes everybody else, or at least alerts everybody else. And then it turns into just a full-on gun battle, which probably gets calls into the sheriffs and other county law enforcement. So, Ricky may have a head start, but, pretty soon it's just like there's a whole, like there's one call, then, the police, then there's like the switchboard just lights up. But even so, it's still Wong puts his arm around somebody and uses them as human shield and like spins through the room in like this really, if it weren't so bloody, it'd actually be kind of gorgeous ballet where it's just like thip, 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 shoots like 5 people in rapid sequence, then puts a gun to the head of the person who he's using as a human shield and pulls the trigger there. And a couple of people come down the stairs. They take rounds to the chest. You see the blood splatter behind him on the wall. But he still hasn't found the person that he's supposed to kill yet.
Yeah, okay. So, Ricky, you're getting a call from Flannery, right? Like we said, maybe 20 minutes or half an hour before this all goes down, to say, hey, there's a bunch of people you're going to be really interested in, at this lodge out by the interstate. So
yeah, so I jump up, put my 2-gun holster on, and I jump in my car. Now I want to really nail it, like pedal to the metal, as they say.
Yeah.
And get there as fast as I can. So
I think it's a good role to see like how much of this encounter you actually witness firsthand, and how much of it you could actually just have to piece together yourself.
Yeah, so I have a driving skill.
Yep.
And a sweet car.
And
so what is driving? Body?
The body, yeah. So that's 8 total.
All right.
I
rolled a 9.
Okay. So
well, with the car I have 1, so it's kind of a break even, right?
Yeah. Sorry, what was your driving? It was
1.
Yeah, so it's an extra. So it's 8 flat. Your skill plus your stat. So it's still a miss.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think
it's brutal.
Yeah, I think maybe it's just traffic, or maybe like there's a wrong turn that you take or something like that.
It's just far away.
Yeah, and
hard to get to.
It just whatever goes wrong on the road is just you don't get there in time.
I get stuck
just
behind
Huang is just so
two very
efficient.
slow station wagons. I'm like, oh my god, pull to the left. Yeah. But I get there.
Oh yeah. I mean, you're not crashing or anything like that. You're getting there just not in time to see Huang in action, right?
Or so I'm missing it all, or am I just getting?
I mean, I think maybe, and again, we cut back to Puckett now and see, like, I think that the next role is maybe to see if you do track down your main target, right? What do you think?
I mean, my instructions were kill everybody in the place, so.
Yeah, okay.
But I will happily roll again, just to kind of even this up a bit.
Yeah, so let's see what the trajectory of the rest of the fight is.
Okay, so is this still attack combat value?
Yeah, I think this is basically the same roll. Yeah. Okay.
That's a 3.
That's a serious success. So I think, what does Ricky find, right, when things are done and dusted?
When things are done and dusted, a whole bunch of dead mob soldiers and the severed head of a relatively high-ranking family member on the doorstep. Just the head, body's upstairs. But it's a surgically clean cut, like an almost unnaturally clean cut. And everybody else is just dead. There's just, it was not nice. It was not pretty. But, apparently a whisper was not a loud enough message. This should be loud enough.
And I mean, I think on a 3, right, regardless, you're wearing armor, but even armor in the best days is not going to protect you from everything. But I think on a 3, I'm not sure you're leaving blood behind. You may have taken, there might be some broken ribs or some scrapes somewhere, but like, I don't think anyone got close enough to you to do some serious damage. But I think, a long running fight and you go into survival mode and maybe you're not thinking about exactly where you put your hand or
I'm gloved up, but I'm also not collecting brass.
Yeah, exactly.
There's not enough time.
So there's going to be some evidence left behind that would feed a hungry detective. But yeah, I think it's pure carnage, right? There's, maybe a dozen plus dead mobsters and a head sitting neatly on the doorstep, right, of this lodge. So definitely something that you wouldn't have seen before.
So I pull up, slam on my brakes, run inside with my gun drawn, and I look all around and there's no one alive. And no one is holding a sword or anything like that. And I'm really pissed that the guy who did this is no longer around. Just vanished like a ghost. And I pick something up. I don't know, just start smashing it just out of frustration. Like, I thought that this was going to be the time when I either got you or saw you or something. So just aggro, angry at all the destruction you caused, and I didn't get a single look.
Yeah. Okay. So,
on the bright side of things, I'm sure that with this much damage, your theory about a 70-something-year-old Chinese man who cooks at a Chinese restaurant will be even more plausible and convincing.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to pull me out in a stretcher or not a straight jacket is what they're going to have to. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm sure you're going to pick up evidence, and I'm sure nothing is going to ever dissuade you of your theory. And maybe the next time you meet Huang in the park, he looks a little bit worse for wear. But yeah, nothing you could pin on him.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it's a time to do a quick epilogue for both characters, unless anyone wants to add anything right here and now.
No, right.
Okay. Do you want to go first, Puckett, or?
Sure.
Yeah.
I think Wang is a creature of routine. He's going to do the same thing as weather permitting. I mean, obviously, he's not going to take his very well-loved Finch out to the park when it's winter. But, spring, summer, fall, he goes to the park. He puts the Finch cage, he puts the tree in the cage, or the cage in the tree. And, there's a couple more Finches over the years. But he just keeps that routine up. He works at the same restaurant. There's another Dave eventually. Maybe this one's name is Steve or Kevin or Michael. There's always a college student who needs money and is willing to drive their car into the ground delivering food. So, and there may be another order or two of the special cashew chicken, but I think that night largely convinced outside interests that Cleveland was not a profitable area for them and they should leave it alone. And Wang was more or less allowed to retire with the exception of an odd job here and there. But certainly nothing like that. Not again. But maybe a quick walk by and a pistol to the head. But certainly nothing that dramatic.
The special cashew chicken is off the menu. You have to order off menu to get it. Cool. Clint, how about Ricky?
So Ricky's still convinced that there's something going on with Peter, and he's still in his free time, which is not very much, continues to kind of slowly tail him, hoping that he'll mess up and slip up somehow and give himself away. But he also just ends up just breaking down in terms of like his appearance. His car gets worse. So we see him kind of becoming the stereotypical, like, just out of shape, drunk cop who's just kind of mean. But he ends up falling actually more and more into the mob's clutches and ends up doing more dirty work for them over time. So it's not a very happy ending for Ricky. Had he been able to catch his prize, it may have turned differently. But
all he had to do was not care that bad people were getting killed. That's it.
That's it. That's all you got to do.
Like a scab he just couldn't stop picking at. Okay, so
cool.
Yeah, I think we can wrap up there. I'll stop recording and we'll do a quick debrief.